Hi, thank you for joining us today for this guided meditation. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Tiffany Wilson, and I work as the Alumni Programs Coordinator for Emporia State. But when I'm not doing that, I get to teach yoga at a local studio here in Emporia. So I've been teaching for a little over 3 years, but practicing yoga and meditation for over 10 years. And I appreciate this opportunity today to get to share my practice with you. So the style of yoga I normally teach is vinyasa flow, which basically is a fancy way of saying linking our movement with our breath. So meditation isn't much different. It's focusing on our breath without the movement. So meditation has been around for a very long time and is used for various reasons. Some of those being to obtain mindfulness, awareness, mental clarity, among other things. It also has many benefits. Some of those being stress relief, anxiety relief, relief from depression, amongst many other things. But it's also one of the hardest practices that we can practice. It requires stillness and self-reflection. And as we know, as humans, we're always on the go. So sometimes that stillness is really hard to obtain. So there are several different types of meditation. There's visual meditation, mindfulness, guided, mantra, just to name a few. In today's meditation, we will focus on 3 of these: guided, mantra or intention setting, and visual. So as we begin, I encourage you to find a comfortable spot. This may be different for each of us. We may choose to sit in our office chair. We may choose to lay on the floor. But do keep in mind that we'll be here for about 15 to 20 minutes. So choose a position that is sustainable and works best for you. So we will begin with a few simple yoga poses. But don't let that alarm you. I promise I won't tie you into a pretzel. We won't even be reaching for our toes today. Just some things to just kind of get us loosened up as we begin this meditation. So as you begin to find your comfortable posture, you may wish to close your eyes. But if that brings about any feelings of anxiety, please do what's best for you. So I like to tell my students that yoga and meditation is a very customizable practice. So it's important to do what's best for you, what feels best for you, and what makes you the most comfortable. It's not about trying to match your neighbor. It's only doing what's right for you. It's also not about doing what I say. Everything I say is merely a suggestion. So if we come to something that just makes you feel uncomfortable, please do not think that you have to stay in that posture, that position. Just do what is best for you. So beginning to settle into your posture, letting your body relax, cluing into your breath. Maybe with those eyes closed, just beginning to let your body relax. Noticing your breath, noticing if it's smooth, noticing if there may be some rigidness to it. Neither one of these is right or wrong, but just noticing how your breath is today. Noticing if there's any areas of tension or tightness in your body, any stress that we may be holding on to. I would aim to say that we've all been spending a lot more time hunched over our keyboards, more time staring at a computer screen. And so we may notice more areas of tension and tightness in our neck and our shoulders. And so we're going to work on releasing some of that. And so again, finding that posture that works for you, finding your breath, letting your body relax, letting your mind relax. Again, I said meditation is really hard because we have to let all those thoughts just kind of let go for a while. So just beginning to sort those thoughts out, coming into this present moment. Letting your breath begin to steady out. Just finding that calm. Beginning to let your body feel heavy. If you're seated on the ground or on the floor, laying on the ground, just beginning to take up space. Forgetting about things that surround you. Just noticing maybe the sounds around you. If your eyes are still open, maybe taking in some of those sights that are around you. If you're near a window and where you're at, if it's raining, maybe hearing that rain outside. And just beginning to get comfortable. Noticing your inhales and your exhales. Seeing if you can begin to even those out. Visually feeling that tension melt away. And then beginning to let your breath deepen. Maybe bringing a little wiggle to your fingers, a little wiggle to your toes. And on a great big inhale, bringing those shoulders up to your ears, crunching them up. And that exhale, slowly letting them fall away, creating that space. Repeating this 2 more times with your breath on that great big inhale, letting those shoulders come up towards those ears, creating that tension. And that exhale, letting that tension melt away. And one last time on that inhale, lengthening that space in between the ears and the shoulders. Exhale, creating that space. Maybe beginning to roll through the wrists. Maybe letting your head hang, swinging it side by side. Just creating that length in the back of the neck into the sides. And then coming to whatever your position may be. Whether you're seated again in a chair on the ground, laying on the floor. If you're seated on the ground, let that right hand come down beside you, letting the hands rest on the ground. If you're in a chair, you may let that right hand come slightly behind you, letting your hand rest on the seat of your chair. Or if you're laying on the ground, let that right hand come up overhead and just let it rest comfortably on the floor. Rolling that right shoulder slightly back, creating a little bit of space in between that right ear and your right shoulder. Taking a big inhale here, slowly beginning to bring your gaze over that left shoulder. And on that exhale, tucking that chin towards the chest. Feeling that openness in that right side, that length in that right side. Thinking of creating that space between the shoulder and the ear. And slowly on that inhale, bringing the gaze back into the center, that right hand into your lap or by your side. Then switching sides, letting that left hand either come down by your side, up overhead, whatever position you may be in, letting that left shoulder roll back. And on that inhale, bringing your gaze over your right shoulder. And that exhale, the chin towards the chest. Again, creating that length on that left side. Knowing that each side is different, we may carry our attention differently on each side. So just remembering to do what feels best, what feels right for you. And slowly on that inhale, coming back into the center, both hands into your lap or by your sides. And then rolling both shoulders back. Bringing your hands back behind your back. If you're sitting in a chair, you may grab onto the back of your chair. If you're on the ground, maybe bringing those hands behind the back. If you're laying on the ground, maybe bringing those hands overhead, letting both hands rest on the ground. You may choose to interlace the fingers here, or may just bring the palms to the base of our spine, really rolling those shoulders back, feeling those shoulder blades begin to go towards one another. And then on our exhale, just beginning to let that chin drop towards the chest. Creating that length, that space in the back of the neck, into the shoulders. And slowly on that inhale, coming back into the center, coming back to your comfortable seat or your comfortable position. Bringing our hands back to our laps or our side. Beginning to settle back into your breath. Trying to keep your mind clear and focused. As we go on, your mind will start to wander. Know that that's normal. But if you notice that, try to reel it back into this present time. And as you find that rhythm of your breath, think of a word or a phrase that resonates with you. I don't give this much thought, just the first word or phrase that pops into your head. And this will become your mantra or your intention for this practice. So begin to connect with this word or phrase and connect it with your breath. So maybe if it's a simple word, one word, as you inhale, you think of that word, that exhale, that same word. If it's a short phrase, maybe half of it on that inhale, half on the exhale. Beginning to repeat this phrase or this word to yourself. Using this word or phrase to help you remain focused. Again, to help you reel in those thoughts as they begin to wander. And just taking a few moments to focus on this mantra or this intention that you have chosen. Again, trying to lengthen your breath, making them steady, but at a comfortable cadence that's right for you. So beginning to connect more with our breath, I'm going to lead us through a short breathing exercise. And this will entail us holding our breath for a few seconds. So if at any time this does not feel comfortable, come back to your normal cadence of breath. So first, I want you to think of dividing your torso into thirds. So from your shoulders to the upper part of your rib cage, then from your upper rib cage to your lower rib cage, and then the lower rib cage to your belly button. Thinking of those thirds, exhale all the air out of your body. Then beginning to inhale, just filling up that lower third of your torso, from the belly button to your lower rib cage, and hold. And then inhaling a little bit more deeply, feeling the ribs begin to expand, and holding your breath here. And finally, taking as deep of an inhale as possible, filling your belly completely full of air and holding at the top as if you can hold no more air in. And then exhale, letting all the air out. Returning to your normal cadence of breath. And then we're going to repeat this a couple more times. So on that inhale, letting all that air out first. On that inhale, filling up that bottom third from your belly button to that lower rib cage, and hold. And then inhaling a little more, letting those ribs begin to expand, and holding your breath here. And then again, filling your belly as full as it will get with air, taking that great big inhale and holding your breath at the top. And that exhale, letting all that air out, returning to your normal breath. And repeating this one last time, again, exhaling all that air out of your body. And on that inhale, that bottom third, from the belly button to the rib cage. And that second half, the ribs expanding, holding at the top. And then that great big deep inhale, filling up as much air as you can, holding at the top for just these few seconds. And that exhale, releasing, returning to that normal breath. And then we're going to take this from the opposite direction. So taking that great big inhale, taking in as much air as you can. And slowly exhaling, seeing if you can just release the air from your shoulders to the top of that rib cage. And hold. And then letting a little bit more air out on that exhale. And then that full exhale, letting all the air out. Returning to that normal breath. And then again, taking that big inhale, taking in as much breath as you can. Holding your breath at the top. And that exhale, just letting some of that breath release. And letting a little more air out. Feeling that rib cage begin to contract. And then that full exhale, letting all the air out. And then returning to your normal breath. And one last time, taking that great big inhale, taking in all that air. And on that exhale, letting out just enough air to the top of that rib cage and holding. And letting a little bit more air out to the bottom of that rib cage and hold. And that exhale down to the belly button and holding here at the bottom for just a moment. And letting any remaining air out and returning to your normal breath. Coming back to your mantra or your intention, to that word, that phrase. Just finding that steadiness of your breath. Maybe noticing that your breath is coming a little bit more smoother than when we first began. Maybe the body feels a little bit more relaxed. Now beginning to think of your favorite color, or the first color that pops into your mind. Now envision your body as you inhale. You see the color appear as a dim light above your heart. And as you exhale, it disappears. And the next inhale, this light becomes a little brighter. And as you exhale, it begins to dim. And with each inhale, that light becomes a little brighter and it starts to spread. That exhale, it comes in a little bit. And that inhale, it spreads from above the heart throughout the chest and begins to spread down your arms, your legs, until finally, as you inhale, your full body is glowing with that color that you've chosen. And you are fully encompassed by this light. And with each inhale, that light brightens. And that exhale, it may dim a little bit. This color is very noticeable. Maybe you can even feel the warmth that's provided by that light. Now I want you to envision little Zoom boxes from the Zoom calls that we've all become so familiar with. And as you're in your little Brady Bunch configuration with your colleagues, your friends, your family, each of you is holding on to your own personal light, your own color. But now as you begin to inhale, the light begins to spread into those other boxes. All the colors begin mixing together, the light is spreading throughout, the love, the kindness, feeling the warmth. Stay here, remaining steady with that breath, feeling the warmth, letting the light engulf you. Keeping that breath steady, and feeling that light, that color from you and those that surround you. Feeling it warm you, and relax you. And then slowly as you exhale, the lights and the colors begin to separate, coming back to each individual person as we hold it tight until the next time we can spread that light. So returning to your breath, to your cadence, that mantra or intention, and spending these last few moments in full surrender to your practice, staying focused on your breath, staying focused on your body, and remaining in this present moment, not letting that to-do list or those thoughts come back in, just taking these moments of self-care. If you feel your mind begin to wander, come back to that word or phrase that you chose. Continue to repeat it, linking it to your breath. Nothing else exists in this moment, and everything else can wait. So we're going to spend just a few moments in silence, just using this time entirely for you. Slowly beginning to deepen your breath. Bringing a little movement back into your fingers, maybe to your toes. Rolling through the wrists, maybe the ankles. Beginning to let your body waken back up. And slowly bringing the palms together, the thumbs facing towards your heart. And coming back to that intention, or maybe setting a new intention or phrase for the rest of your day. And sharing together in one final inhale, followed by that meaningful exhale. And thank you for letting me share my practice with you today. And stay safe. Namaste.